Good morning, good evening. This is Harry from Hotspur TV, and today we're going to talk about Kulusevski. So as you know, Kulusevski struggled in the first game for us, and a lot of people did, disputing like what's going on with him because obviously he had a very good first half season with us under Antonio Conte, and he was signed permanently in the summer. We had not an option, well, it was obligation if we made like Europe or something, but they took up the option and they signed him. And anyway, so Kulusevski, on the face of it, initially you could say he doesn't really fit the Ange system, actually, if I'm being honest. And yeah, there is a reason for that. Down the right, I think he showed more than the Son on the weekend, but and he was trying to do stuff, he was trying to take on players, but I don't think he really fits down the right at Tottenham right now. If I was Ange, I would convert Kulusevski into a number 10 or a central midfielder, wherever Madison's sort of playing right now, like in the pockets, because I think Kulusevski is not really fast enough to play in this right on the right hand side in this formation of 4-3-3, because you have to come back. And bearing in mind Emerson has been going to midfield, so maybe Ange is using his fullbacks as inverted, like what Arsenal used in Zinchenko. That's the impression I got from that first game. So by consequence, Kulusevski has to come back to cover. Now, will he? Does he have the legs to do that? I don't think so. So you're gonna have to use him in a different way. So you could either use him as a false nine, which I did think of that, but I don't think in the long run it would work because we do have an issue at striker. So maybe Kulusevski plays a false nine. Is that an option? I don't know, but I'd rather see him in midfield, alongside Basuma, and I don't know alongside Basuma and Madison, but alongside saying Basuma and Skip or Basuma and Højbjerg, something like that, and then Kulusevski where Madison's playing. Of course, I don't expect to see this next week against United because you don't risk it in that sort of game. But I think if Kulusevski's gonna have a career here under Ange, he's gonna have to be converted into a number 10 or playmaker, however you like to say it. He's got the creativity, as we saw playing off the right under Conte. So if you play him in a system where he has more space, and naturally he's going to come inside anyway, so you might as well play in there from the get go. Maybe have more joy. Because right now, playing on the right, he's too predictable. Not because he's like a bad player, but he's just very predictable. He's always going to come inside. He's trying to take on his man or men two or three times, and it's just not working for us. So we're going to do something. We have to do something different. So I'd like to see Kulusevski moved into the middle as a number 10. And the next game, I wouldn't play him down the right. I'll just use him as a sub. We actually saw Kulusevski play in that position under Mason, I think, in the end of last season. And whilst it wasn't the best performance, I think we saw slightly bit more out of him in that game. And unfortunately, you can't really tell where his conversion is going to work unless you give him a run of, say, a few games. And maybe if we have an easy run or like a cup game, we've got Fulham away, of course, they can try that out. Because naturally, right now, Lo Celso is actually the cover for Madison, at least on paper. But Lo Celso can also play that box-to-box role. And also, Lo Celso, I'm basing this on previous experience of watching him at Tottenham, he hasn't really created that many chances in the higher-up role. And I think his best football was actually probably under Mourinho, Lo Celso. And he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't exactly playing as a number 10. He was playing as in a 4-3-3, like slightly further back. So you could even play Lo Celso with Kulusevski with like a Basuma or Sarr or a Skip. That could be an option. But Lo Celso is probably the one standing in his way to try and do this right now. Now, if Lo Celso is staying, would you try this out? Would you put Kulusevski as a number 10? Is that something you want to see? Because that's the only way, at least based off the first game, that I see Kulusevski's future at Tottenham being successful. Because I don't see him doing well on the right. I just don't think he has the pace for it in this system. And I think if we're going to have someone like Richarlison up front, or even Son to a lesser extent, and we kind of need players to put in crosses, especially with someone like Richarlison. And Kulusevski doesn't really put in crosses that he does, but he's cutting inside. I think Richarlison wants off the outside like Perisic tried to do on the weekends, or Porro was doing at the end of last season. So I just don't see how Kulusevski fits on the wing. Some people said put him down the left, and maybe that will unlock some of him because he'll have to play off his left foot and cross it in. He won't have a choice. But does he have the pace to do play down the wing in the system? I don't think so. But then I guess you could argue that with Doji was playing down that side, and Doji's got mad pace, so you could probably cover both of them in some ways, But so I guess he puts him down the left. It's sort of like when Eriksen playing down the left in the Poch system. The difference is now is that we're playing a 4-2-3-1, so you've got two holders. So with one load, went inside or went up, like Eriksen used to do, there's a bit more cover. But in a 4-3-3, you've got one there and then two there, like further up. And he drops two back and plays it in a 4-2-3-1 in that sense, and Kulusevski off the left, just like an inverted 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, we're going to call it. We might see something better out of him down the left, but I'd really like to see Kulusevski using number 10. Whether this will happen or not is anyone's guess, right? But I'd like to see Kulusevski as number 10, and that's the only way I see his career being a success at Tottenham now. Conte's gone, and we're playing a 4-3-3. I don't think he has the pace to play on either wing. I don't think I can play through the middle. It's something I suggested, but I just don't think he can do it. So for me, Kulusevski, try him as number 10. We'll have to wait till like Fulham away to do this, but yeah, I'd like to see that.